So I'm going to point out I'm going to pin muscles that are clearly labeled, you know, on the cat. So I'm not going to try to trick you guys. Like, I want you guys to do well. You know, it doesn't really matter to me. I hope you guys do well. I'm not trying to screw you guys up. So I'm going to tell you guys how I see it. And these are like the muscles of the cat that I taught it to you guys, and that's where I'm going to point it out to you guys, okay? So if you guys have been here all week and you guys have been paying attention, then it's going to be the same thing. So we're going to start with the pecto antebrachialis, which is this muscle right here. So if I were to pick that, it would probably just be, you know, just through right here. Goes the pecto antebrachialis right there. Right underneath the pecto antebrachialis, we have your pec major, which is this muscle right over here. Okay? Then you have your pec minor. And you have your xiphi humerales. Then you have your serratus anterior right here. Okay, then we'll flip it over. Take a look at our lats right here. You can see it from the back here and from the front right here. Sorry, your lats. This whole part is the traps. I would probably label it closer to the end here because we have the deltoid muscles up here. I wouldn't want to confuse you guys. So right here's the traps. Then we have the supraspinatus right here. Then we have the infraspinatus right here. And the teres major, which is right here. Then we have the clavodeltoid, or your clavobrachialis, right here. You have your acromiodeltoid, which is right here. This part right here. And your spinodeltoid right there. So clavo, acromio, spino. Then you have your long head of your tricep right here. You have your lateral head right here. And then you have your medial head deep in there. Then you have your rhomboids right here. Don't get it confused with your subscapularis, which would be right over here. So I'd put the subscapularis right in there if I was going to do it. Rhomboids would be right over here. Now you have your, whoops, I forgot to mention the brachialis, which is this muscle right over here. This is your brachialis. This is your, that's your extensor carpi radialis longus. I was just making sure it wasn't your brachioradialis, but your brachioradialis is ripped off here. Okay, so on the medial side, you have your biceps brachii right here. Then you have your epitrochlearis right here, that's cut. So one of the flaps would be labeled if I were to choose that. Okay, then let's move on to the forearm muscles. Okay, so you have your pronator teres, which is this guy right over here. Pronator teres. Beside that, this muscle right over here. See this one right there? That's your flexor carpi radialis. And this big thick one is your palmaris longus. And then you have your flexor carpi ulnaris. Now moving on to the extensors. So you have your extensor carpi radialis longus. Underneath it you have your extensor carpi radialis brevis. Then you have then after those two, you have three extensor muscles that are all side by side and all superficial. So it's pretty easy once you know their names. Extensor digitorum communis, extensor digitorum lateralis, and extensor carpi ulnaris. Okay, so just boom, 1, 2, 3, all superficial. Don't need to look for it; they're all right there. Okay. Now. These muscles we have are sartorius right over here, which is cut. So I'd probably label one of the flaps, probably this one if I were to label it. You have your iliotibial band right here, which connects right there. You have your gracilis right there. You have your biceps femoris, this big thick one right here on the lateral side. You have your semitendinosus, which is, one sec. So your semitendinosus, which is right there.
So it's cut?
Yeah. It's cut. Always cut. Semitendinosus, okay? So it's, I'll probably label it as this one coming out here, semitendinosus. Above it, you got your semimembranosus. Then you have your adductor femoris, which is this big muscle right here, and your adductor longus, which would be over here, just underneath the vein. Then you have your rectus femoris, your vastus medialis, and your vastus lateralis. Okay? And then just going over one more time the muscles for this week. So we have our gastrocnemius, which is this upper portion, right? That's your gastroc right here. You have your plantaris, which is this tube-like muscle underneath the gastroc. Then underneath that, you have your soleus, which is right underneath your gastroc and plantaris, okay? Right there, that's your soleus. Let me flip it over. We have our tib anterior right here. It's the thicker muscle, tib anterior. Right beside it, just lateral to it, you have your extensor digitorum longus. Okay? And then beside your extensor digitorum longus on the lateral side, you have your peroneus longus, which is this muscle right here. And you have your peroneus brevis right underneath it. So peroneus longus on top of the peroneus brevis. Okay? And then we have, on the medial side, we have the tibialis posterior, right over here. This one right here. And then we have the flexor digitorum longus, which is right over here. And I'm not going to test you guys on the flexor hallucis longus. Okay. Any questions? Clear as mud?